Let's take a look at Baron Trump's chart. I'm quite concerned about what's going on. I think all of you should be too. I know his parents are taking good care of him. I have no doubt about that. But let's take a look at this child. Yes, not even 20 years old yet. If you think about the brain not really forming completely for reasoning until the age of 25, 26, I believe that he is going through a very scary time. And I think he's been briefed about much more than we can understand. I will give you my predictions that I've been getting clairvoyantly, but first I want you to take a look at his chart. What I like that I see right away, remember this is Sidereal astrology, so this is close to Vedic astrology. It's not Western astrology. Don't let me go down that road. He's got this great grand trine, as you can see here. It has to do with Saturn and Sun, Moon, and Saturn again. So this tells me right away that he's going to have a heavy responsibility partnering with his father, because that is Saturn in the 7th house, going to be partnering mother. Okay. The mother, believe it or not, is bringing in a strong business sense into this. It's about how do you present yourself as a queen, as a prince, as a princess to the world. To be very serious, quite stoic. And this comes from her background, her culture. That's all this 11th house stuff going on right here. Moon is representing the mom. The one that concerns me, but it's quite a far gap, is Saturn opposing Venus. And that is his self-identity is in the 1st house. Who am I against my father? That's the Saturn thing. Who am I against my father? The mother is going to be very supportive of understanding this. The father, which is Donald Trump, obviously, he's on a mission. And I believe, and I'll look at this in a second, I want you to also take a look at Uranus with Mercury. Uranus and Mercury squaring right here, okay, squaring his Mars here. He's quite concerned about what he says, how to speak, how to communicate. And if he doesn't feel, or his mother does not feel that he is matured, has enough experience to be able to voice an opinion, a thought, or ideas, to zip it. Don't say anything. It's better to say nothing than too much. And so he's being raised in this very stoic upbringing, and that this mission can include dangerous territory, very dangerous territory. And that's how it's been presented to him. So you imagine this young child, probably educated, obviously since the day he was born, but maybe more so from the age of 14. And I'll tell you why. Between the age of 14, specifically 16, we're looking at Uranus here. Something happened during that time where he spoke up, spoke too soon. He was asserting himself, developing who he was mentally, and he wanted to be a unique, different person who had a very different set of views, but that didn't go over very well at that age. And now that he's getting closer, it's going to happen again around the age of 21. With Pluto and the Sun, as you can see here, in also the 11th house and the 2nd house, and even the North Node, there's a huge lesson around finances and self-value. And as long as he focuses on his value systems wrapped around his financial situation, he's going to do quite well. Now, of course, you're going to say he's Donald Trump's son, so of course he's going to do quite well. But he still has to be a businessman, and that's what he's being groomed for. Because Saturn right now is hovering over this section. It's going to go fairly quickly. Again, it's around, he's bubbling inside. He's brewing inside. He's edgy, irritated. He wants to be able to speak his truth and speak his mind. With Mars in Taurus, he's able to have that in control. He's able to control that. But and he can do it quite eloquently. But when he goes home behind closed doors, trust me, he blows a gasket. He's quite confused about why he has this. If you look at Neptune here, this little tiny stellium here, it's just a tiny one. This is his destiny, is to be in presentation mode all the time. And he's following the cues of his mom. We see Pluto, which will be in a couple of years from now, hit Venus and Neptune at 23 degrees, I believe he's going to be put in a placement where suddenly he will be put in a position of leadership. I believe leadership is going to look very different at that time. So let's take a look at exactly what that date is. As you can see here, it will be in 2032, 7 years from now. He will be approximately 25 years old. The interesting thing, though, is that Pluto is already hitting his ascendant. I do not predict doom and gloom. However, around the age of 25, when this happens, Baron will be put in a position of power. When we've got Pluto involved, going over the ascendant, and a strong Pluto in his chart with the position of the sun and the North Node there, he has been given by birth a power. It reminds me of the Dalai Lama when you're looking for the new Dalai Lama. When the other one dies, it's like they search for them and then you're appointed. But in this case, they knew when they gave birth to him the position that he was going to have. I do feel that he is overwhelmed. He's not overly emotional. He's actually quite stoic by nature, so they're not forcing this upon him. He is detached. There's a non-attachment to this. He's by nature someone who's quite conservative, standoffish, analyzing the room on multitude of levels, almost like a detective. And while he is looking either down or depressed or having a hard time, he's actually scanning the room, the energy. Seriously. He's not an overly emotional person. He will do obviously very well in finances, but he will be involved in financing. There will be a multitude of positions as laws will change throughout the government, and one won't exceed the other. And he is being groomed to be in that position. He's accepting that, but right now, as a just still really a kid, he's overwhelmed. There's a lot going on in his head. He's very inventive. He's coming up with ideas. He's communicating them with his parents when he gets home. But I'm hoping that not only does he have a professional advisor, which I still think is his mom, but he also has just a counselor, a consultant, a therapist. Baron, over here, I'll help you out. Anyone that can talk to him, that gets him, because he has been disconnected from his friends to a degree, and Pluto in the 11th house indicates that this could be a challenge for him to engage with friends. He has a very serious secret that he's keeping, and some of it I just exposed for you looking at his chart. And this secret disconnects him from his friends. He can't tell anybody. He can't tell anybody. Top secret. Anybody. And therefore, how do you talk to your friends about, like, look what happened to me today? Oh my God, can you believe that? Or his friends come up to him and say, oh, what was it like at the inauguration? How did you feel? I was fine. Everything's cool. Because he can't say nothing. So hopefully they find somebody that's close to his age, that may be a male, that he can talk to. And I'm not saying he can't talk to you, Donald. I'm sure he can. Sure he can. Somebody completely disconnected and someone that he can trust, because he's got some trust issues. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. What do you think?